let's get one thing straight from the start: you can't read people's minds. No, I don't care how many self-help books you've read or how many YouTube videos you've watched. It's not happening. People's minds are complex, multifaceted, and full of hidden depths that you can never truly fathom just by observing a few gestures. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying or deluded. You see, trying to read someone's mind is like trying to predict the weather by looking at a single cloud. Sure, you might get a rough idea of what's going on, but you'll never grasp the full picture. The human mind is a chaotic storm of thoughts, emotions, and impulses, most of which are hidden beneath the surface. And, to make things worse, people are experts at faking emotions and expressions. If you rely solely on what you see, you're setting yourself up for a deep, embarrassing illusion. Of course, there are exceptions. Some seasoned experts, those rare, perceptive souls who have spent decades honing their skills, might be able to read people with some degree of accuracy. But for the rest of us mere mortals, it's a crapshoot at best. Still, if you're determined to give it a shot, there are a few things that might help you get an idea, albeit not with certainty. Energy and vibe, the unseen indicators. First off, let's talk about energy and vibe. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and immediately feel uncomfortable. Nobody has said or done anything, but you just want to leave. That's energy. It's an unspoken signal that your subconscious picks up on. It's your gut telling you, get out of here. The same thing happens with people. Ever noticed how you instantly click with some people, while with others, you struggle to make even basic conversation? That's an energy match. It's a gut feeling telling you whether you're compatible with someone or not. There's no scientific formula for it, no checklist to follow. It's just something you feel. And once you're comfortable with someone's energy, you'll have a much better idea of whether they're lying or telling the truth. Think about those times when you've walked into a party or a social gathering and immediately felt at ease, or conversely, felt an overwhelming urge to leave. That's the power of energy and vibe. It's the same with individuals. Some people's energy aligns with yours effortlessly, while others' energy feels like a constant struggle. Pay attention to these feelings, they're your first clues in understanding someone's true nature. Body language, the so-called clues. Now, let's address the gurus who swear by body language. They'll tell you to watch for specific movements and gestures. I won't say they're entirely wrong, but let's be real, it's not a magic bullet. Learning to read body language can be helpful, but it's not going to make you a mind reader overnight. For instance, they'll tell you to look at facial expressions, hand movements, and overall body language. Pay attention to the size and shape of a person's pupils, the color of their eyes, and how their eyebrows move. Sure, these things can provide clues, but they're not definitive answers. A smile might indicate happiness, but it could also be a mask for sadness or deceit. A frown could mean confusion, but it might just be a sign of concentration. Consider the context in which you're observing these gestures. If someone is smiling during a tense negotiation, that smile might be more about masking nerves or deception than genuine happiness. If someone's pupils are dilated, it could be because they're interested in what you're saying, or it could just be the dim lighting in the room. Context matters immensely. Common signs and what they might mean. Let's break down some common signs and what they might suggest. Remember, none of these are foolproof. They're just hints. Fingers making a quick sound, this might indicate nervousness or impatience. But what if they're just tapping their fingers to a beat in their head? Crossing arms, often a defensive posture, signaling discomfort or resistance. Or maybe they're just cold or comfortable that way. Leaning forward could show interest or aggression, depending on the context. But it might also mean they're straining to hear you in a noisy environment. Touching their face, a sign of lying or nervousness, but not always. Sometimes people touch their face out of habit or because it itches. Listening intently, this might mean they're genuinely interested or plotting their next move. Or they could be zoning out and daydreaming. The point is, you need to pay attention and be patient. Don't jump to conclusions based on a single gesture. Context is crucial, and so is your intuition. People are more than the sum of their observable behaviors. The power of instinct. Speaking of intuition, let's talk about that. Your instincts are your best friend when it comes to understanding people. Haven't you ever felt that gut feeling telling you to do something or avoid something, and it turned out to be right? That's your subconscious mind, drawing on all the information you've absorbed but haven't consciously processed. It's powerful, and it rarely steers you wrong. Your mind is your most reliable tool for understanding people. Pay attention to your surroundings and the vibes you're getting. Trust that inner voice. It's more attuned to the subtleties of human behavior than you might realize. Focus and presence. To truly understand what's happening in another person's mind, you need to be fully present. This means paying attention to the things unsaid, the subtle cues, and the overall context. It's about focusing your mind and being aware of the dynamics at play. Don't get lost in the noise, hone in on the details that matter. Being present also means engaging with the person in front of you. Put down your phone, stop thinking about your to-do list, and really listen. Notice the small changes in their tone of voice, the pauses in their speech, the micro-expressions that flit across their face. All of these are clues that can give you insight into their thoughts and feelings. The reality check. Here's the brutal truth: no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to read minds with 100% accuracy. People are too complex, too adept at hiding their true selves. But that doesn't mean you can't get better at understanding them. It just means you need to approach the task with humility and realism. Reading people is a skill that takes time and experience to develop. You'll make mistakes, you'll misread signals, and you'll be fooled by fakes. But with persistence and practice, you can improve. Just don't fall into the trap of thinking you've got it all figured out. The moment you think you can read minds is the moment you stop learning. You have to accept that you'll never get it right all the time. People are walking paradoxes, full of contradictions and hidden depths. One day you might think you've figured someone out, only for them to do something that completely baffles you the next. That's just human nature. Embrace the unpredictability and keep learning. Practical steps to improve your people reading skills. Alright, so you're not going to become a mind reader, but you can still get better at understanding people. Here are some practical steps you can take. Develop your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions and the emotions of others. It's a crucial skill for reading people. Start by becoming more aware of your own emotional responses and what triggers them. Then, practice recognizing emotions in others. This could be through their facial expressions, tone of voice, or body language. Practice active listening. Most of us listen to respond rather than to understand. Active listening involves fully concentrating on what the other person is saying, without planning your response while they're talking. It's about being fully present and engaged. This will help you pick up on subtle cues that you might otherwise miss. Observe without judging. When you're trying to read someone, it's easy to jump to conclusions based on your biases and preconceptions. Try to observe without judging. Note what you see and hear without immediately labeling it as good or bad, right or wrong. This objective observation will give you a clearer picture. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking yes/no questions, ask open-ended ones that encourage the other person to share more about their thoughts and feelings. This not only gives you more information to work with but also shows that you're genuinely interested in understanding them. Reflect on past interactions. Take time to reflect on your past interactions with people. Think about what went well and what didn't. Were there any cues you missed? Any signs you misinterpreted? This reflection will help you learn from your experiences and improve over time. So, can you read people's minds? No, you can't. But you can get better at understanding them. Pay attention to energy and vibes, learn to read body language, trust your instincts, and be fully present. And most importantly, stay humble and keep learning. The human mind is a vast, intricate maze, and anyone who claims to have a map is either lying or deluded. Embrace the challenge, accept the uncertainty, and you might just find yourself getting a little better at navigating the complexities of human interaction. Remember, the goal isn't to become a perfect mind reader, that's impossible. The goal is to become more attuned to the subtle signals that people give off, to connect with others more deeply, and to navigate the social landscape with a bit more grace and understanding. So get out there, observe, listen, and keep refining your skills. The journey of understanding people is never-ending, but it's one of the most rewarding paths you can take.